Today I have some more kitchen gadgets that I want to try out. First, I have this Silicone Ice Bucket. It's a silicone sleeve with a built-in cup and lid. And it says what you do is you fill some water inside this silicone ice mold. And I think the cup has to be on the inside. And then you freeze it with the lid on it. And once it's frozen, you can use the ice that it made inside to put inside of the cup to cool down your drinks. So let's try this out and see how it works. The instructions say to pull the silicone sleeve to the side and fill it with water between the cup and the sleeve itself. And you can see the cup wants to rise up because of the water. So maybe that's why they have the lid to hold that cup down. Alright, the lid fits tight. I'm going to put this in the freezer, let it freeze, and then we'll try it out. The ice is now frozen, so let's give this thing a try. First I'll remove the lid, and let's see if I can get this cup out of here, since I know the water kind of froze between the cup and the silicone ice mold. Kind of work that a little bit, see if I can get it loose. It came looser a lot easier than I thought it would. So in here is all the ice in these little pockets. I'm going to crush this. And next I'll pour it in the cup. Go ahead and open me up a soda. Pour it in. And almost instantly you'll have an ice cold beverage. I really like this little thing here. I think it would be really cool to have maybe half a dozen of these, and you could just keep them in the freezer. They are going to take up a fair amount of space, there's no doubt about it. But to be able to have these in the freezer and to be able to have an ice cold beverage in what, less than a minute? As a matter of fact, I think I probably will order some more of these. Probably another 5 of them. But yeah, this is super cool, and this is one of those things that I'm really glad that I went ahead and got, because I'll keep using it. Next, I have these that are called lemon sprayers. Let's open these up and try them out. You use these by screwing this down into the lemon, and there's a little sprayer right here to spray the lemon juice. There are 2 of these included. You use the longer one for fruits like oranges, and the shorter one for fruits like lemons and limes. So I think I'll try out the lemon first. And I guess that's just a little stand to put it on. So let's try it out. Alright, I think it's in there pretty well. Let's see if it extracts the juice pretty good. It's actually coming out pretty well. I don't know if you can see that on camera. But it makes a really fine mist of lemon juice. Oh, I think that might be just about it. Let's see if I can move that around a little bit more. And now I'm just mostly getting air out of it. So I'm not sure how much juice it can actually pull out of a lemon. So let's see, I got a couple bowls here. Let's see if I squeeze it, how much more juice comes out. Not very much. I actually thought that the little sprayer wasn't doing too good of a job, but I am getting more juice out of the lemon, but not a whole lot. Let me try another one. Just want to make sure I'm getting it down in there. Oh look, and I didn't do this on the last one. The little knob here, I didn't tighten it up all the way. Alright, let's try that. So I dried my hand off, at least pretty well dry. So it does a pretty good job of getting the juice out of there. And I guess you can use your little stand here. If you're just using it for a few spritz of juice, sit it there and it's kind of there whenever you want to use it again. I'm getting a little more juice out of there. It's not a lot. Let's check one more time to see if I'm getting much more juice out of there. I think I'm getting a little more out of this one than the other one. So it's a pretty cool little gadget. It doesn't look like it's going to extract all of the juice out of the lemon, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless. So now I'm going to try an orange. And I'm wondering whether I should just kind of go in the side or maybe go in the navel here. I think I'll try the navel and see how that works. All right. It sprayed a little bit of juice, not really all that much, and now I'm mostly just getting air. So let's take this out and let's see how much juice was left inside this orange. A good bit actually, so yeah, I'm not sure that these work all that well. I mean, they do work if you just need a few spritz of either lemon juice or orange juice, but they just really don't get much of the juice out. So I probably will not be using these anymore. Next, I'm going to be trying out this neat looking little gadget called the 8-in-1 bottle. It's a bottle with 8 different functions. So let's try it out. The 8-in-1 bottle, as I said, is a single bottle with 8 functions. The way it's designed is each of these little rings has a separate function. Unfortunately, the biggest issue I see right off the bat is if you try to lift it up by the top, it's just going to fall apart. Each section has a little tab that fits into every other section, if you can see that. So if you just sit on your cabinet for storage, it's going to work fine. But if you try to pick it up like this or something, it's all going to come apart. First, the top of the bottle is a funnel. And of course, I don't need to really demonstrate how a funnel works, but it does have this little piece on the end, and you can switch it around like this if you have something small that you need to pour liquid into. So there's that. Next is the juicer. And since I already have some oranges here, we'll try this out. To use the juicer, I'm also going to need the bottom of the bottle, which is a measuring cup. Unfortunately, all the measurements are in milliliters. There are no ounce measurements. So this is really not going to do me much good other than just being a holder for maybe the juicer or something like that. So I'll put this on and lock in the little tab. And just as I suspected, the juicer works just fine. Now maybe there are designs of juicers that are just not that good, but it's hard to imagine that a juicer really wouldn't work. So here's the juicer. So next there's an egg separator. Yeah, it works pretty good. Oh, looks like I broke the yolk on that one. So I guess it works as it's supposed to if I wouldn't have shaken it and broken the yolk. So let me try that one more time. Get all this out of there. Honestly, I don't think I've ever actually separated eggs before, so I'm not really sure if the egg white is still supposed to be stuck on here. I'm sure there are a lot of you that have separated eggs, so you'll know, but it is holding the yolk where it's supposed to hold it. So I guess it does work. The next ring is called the egg pulverizer. And let's face it, we all need to occasionally pulverize an egg. So I've got a couple hard-boiled eggs here, and let's try it out. So I guess you're just supposed to push it through. Now look, I have no idea if I'm doing this right or what. It says it's an egg pulverizer. I've never had to pulverize an egg, so I'm guessing this is what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, I guess it's doing a pretty good job of pulverizing this egg. It's kind of messy and seems a little unnecessary to use this, but But the reality is I've never actually needed to pulverize an egg. I've been able to just chop it. But if you do need to pulverize an egg and you purchase one of these 8-in-1 bottles, it comes with an egg pulverizer for your convenience. I actually do have another egg to pulverize, but I think pulverizing one egg is enough for today. The next ring is a cheese grater. So let's try that out. Technically it is grating the cheese. It just takes a lot of effort. Being that the little holes in here, they're not really sharp. There's a little bit of an edge to them, but nothing like the way a metal cheese grater would be. So I think I'll reserve the cheese grating for an old-fashioned metal cheese grater. But this does do the job. It's just a little bit slower and it just takes a little more effort. The next ring is a seasoning grinder. So it basically just has some little nubs here. Again, not too sharp, but just a little bit of an edge to them. And I also have a piece of ginger. So let me try to grind this a little bit. And I'm not sure if I'm doing this right because I've never had to grind ginger or any other spices. But it does work. Seems like a little more effort than necessary to grind it, but it does work. The final ring is a jar opener. Unlike all the other rings, which are plastic, this is either rubber or silicone, and it has some ridges inside to help grab a hold to the jar lids. So I'll try it out on a jar of jalapenos. And it seems to work fine, although I don't really have any issues opening these type of jars usually anyway. But these jars of minced garlic that I keep in the refrigerator are always a beast to open. And a lot of times I do have to get a towel to help open it. So let's try this out on that and see if it helps. It did the job. It gripped it pretty well. It fit the lid. It's not going to fit anything much bigger than this, but probably most of the jars that you're going to need to open aren't going to have a gigantic lid. So all in all, the 8-in-1 bottle, it's a pretty neat little gadget. It's kind of like a jack-of-all-trades gadget. It doesn't necessarily do a lot of stuff well, but it does do a lot of stuff. And it did do everything that I asked of it. Next, I have some bread bag clips. Now, twisty ties do work pretty good for bread, no doubt about it. But how many of us take a piece of bread out, spin the bag, tuck the end of it under, and just sit it? And it's not like these take a lot of work to put on, but sometimes we just don't do it. So with the bread bag clips, simply spin your bread and push a little button down, put your bread through, let it go, and it's going to stay sealed up to keep your bread fresh. I wonder if these clips will work on anything else, like a bag of Frankenberry cereal. And I'll color coordinate the pink clip with the pink Frankenberry. Seems to be locked on pretty good. So yeah, it'll work for cereal bags also. One more thing I want to try the clips on are potato chip bags. As you know, potato chip bags are thicker and not quite as pliable as these other bags that I was using the clips on. But let's try it out. So it definitely works, but because the bags are thicker and it's really bunched up a lot, I'm not sure if this is the best way to go, but in a pinch, it would definitely work. Next, I have this mini bag sealer, so I can use this to seal up any bags that the clips don't work on. So let's open this up and check it out. I've got the bag sealer plugged in, and I've let it heat up for about 60 seconds. So first, let's go back to our Frankenberry cereal. Let's say you don't have any of these clips, and you want to seal it up to keep it fresh. So let's try it out. Make sure it's good and flat. Well, I think I held it on there a little too long. So let me try a little bit lower. Wow, even that was too long. I think it just completely melted the bag. So I'm not sure if I'm holding it on too long or if it's just the type of bag it is. It kind of sticks to it. Okay, so I guess I'm just supposed to just kind of push it on real quick and let it go, because that worked pretty well. So let me try it a little further over and go back to this side. Okay, it did a really good job of sealing the bag up. And since our potato chips are a different type of bag, let's try those. Oh yeah, it sealed it up nicely. Make sure I can get all the way across here. Yep, there it is, completely sealed up, I think. Yep, sealed up the potato chip bag also. Now I wanted to try it on some crackers, because you know how easily crackers go stale. Even if you think you've closed up the bag well, air gets to them and they go stale really quick. So let's try it out on this. I think I missed a little bit here. Well, it actually melted through that bag really easily. So let me put it back up here again and just do it faster. So yeah, that was my fault for, again, holding on too long, even though I didn't have it on there very long. So depending on the thickness of the bag, depends on how long you need to hold it on. The crackers and the cereal were really thin bags, so it's definitely less than a second. And then on a thicker bag like the potato chips, maybe a second or so. And this does the trick. And as many bags as we have around the house with all kinds of things in it, I can definitely see using this a good bit. Next, I have some soda can covers. And you put these on top of your soda can, and they basically turn your can into a bottle. So you can open up the lid, drink out of it, and put the lid back on so it doesn't spill. So let's try these out. I have to say I was kind of skeptical of these when I first saw them, wondering if they would really work as well as they should. And I guess you just snap it on like that. So let's try it out. Alright, so you just snap this cover on like this. Seems to fit pretty tight. Put that on. Ah, we got a leak. Let's see. Let's see if that, I think that leak came from the lid though. It didn't come from the, it didn't come from around where the can meets the top. So the lid's not fitting on there as tight as it should, but it's definitely not leaking anywhere from around here. It's a really tight fit. Let me try another one and see if maybe it's just that particular one. And I'm going to make sure the lid is completely tight. There's no seal inside of these lids. Like there's no rubber gasket or anything, so that may be why it was leaking like that. So let me pop this one on. Make sure it's on. Lid is tight. And it's leaking around the lid also. So this definitely works better than if you just had an open can and it fell over. But even right now it's still leaking out. So that's kind of disappointing. I'm going to try one more just to make sure that it's not maybe just a couple bad ones. Alright, so on there the lid is tight. And we have another leak. So in theory this is a pretty cool little gadget, but in practicality it's not really doing what it's supposed to do. And that probably could be fixed if they would just put some type of gasket in here, because plastic on plastic is just not making a really good seal. So these turned out to be not as cool as I was hoping for. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.